Thank you very much. Guest is here. In fact, this is going to be more like a fireside chat because it's me, her, and all of us. Okay. So use the comment section to fire questions. If you know who's coming on board to speak on this topic, if you know her level of expertise in this area, then you should bring out all the questions you have. All those questions you want to ask about recruitment, about job, anything, please keep them in the comment section. I want to actually spend time reading out your questions more than my own questions. So let it come from you, okay? So I'm going to go right ahead into it. This session is corporate recruitment strategy, job experience, and the applicant's dilemma. And for this conversation, we're going to be discussing the issue that I think many of us can connect with. A lot of our loved ones, a lot of our family members and friends are looking for a job or looking to grow in their career or looking to find a new job, graduates, no job. I mean, that's the whole reason we're here discussing unemployment. So how do we get this job? How do they get the jobs? What are the corporates looking for? Are there opportunities? What must the applicants know and all of that? So this is actually the focus of this conversation. And for this, we have Fiyin Toyo, and Fiyin Toyo is the manager East and West Africa GlaxoSmithKline Consumer Healthcare, that GSK, and founder Empower You Career Consultant. You see the name, right? Empower You Career Consultant. So she's here today to empower us. Let me tell us a little bit more about her. So she has responsibility at GSK for Nigeria, Kenya, Mauritius, Uganda, Tanzania, Ethiopia, Madagascar, Ghana, and Gambia. Oh my God. Her experience strategies across brand management, innovation, digital marketing, and recruitment across Africa and Europe, gained through managing world-class brands. She has been featured on Why Nigeria Power List for Corporate Nigeria twice and was nominated for the renowned Nigeria Future Award in the professional service category for excellence and impact in the corporate world. Fiyin is a seasoned speaker who's spoken at many industry conferences and networked across Nigeria, Kenya, Turkey, Pakistan, and the United Kingdom. Having started her career in the recruitment industry, she's an avid believer in the power of knowledge transfer and helping people rise, become the best they can be. She was therefore inspired to start Empower You, an emerging enterprise that trains and equips individuals with employability skills and tools they need for the future of work so they can truly excel in the workplace. In her spare time, she's an adrenaline junkie and enjoys traveling. So far, 29 countries and counting, and she's just a young person. So, Madam Toyo, you're welcome. Please, where are you? You're welcome. You're welcome.
Hi, good afternoon.
Welcome. Good to have you. Good to have you. So, okay, so we're just going to jump right into it. So I want to start by asking you, what is your thought on the importance of the topic we're about to discuss? Corporate recruitment strategy, job experience, and applicant's dilemma.
All right, thank you so much. First of all, Chinwe, and to the rest of the team that has put together this amazing event, the Green Youth Summit. Thanks to the Brand Africa Initiative. I'm really grateful for the opportunity to speak. I think it's such an amazing thing that you've done. And I was here earlier listening in, and it's really, really inspiring, hearing from all the speakers and also from the attendees. And it's as though you knew what was going to happen over the last 2 weeks, and that this conference was, the right thing that we need in this season. So thank you so much for the opportunity. Now, with regards to your question, I hope you can hear me. Somebody says the sound is not good.
Yes, there's some sound like I don't know, like a fan or something, like I don't know, some sound at the background. Continue. If it happens again, I'll let you know.
Okay, so let me just change over to earphones. That might make this a bit better. But with regards to your, you know, the applicant's dilemma and recruitment, job experience, you know, the whole topic. You know, it's something that's very, very
Is it my network?
interesting because it's common in Africa, also common in other countries, but I find that this screen. Participants hear me? Okay, Chinwe, you're back now. I can see that you're moving. Is the sound better?
Yes, the sound is better. The network was a bit fluctuating a bit.
Okay.
It's okay now. It's stable now.
All right. So, okay, excellent. Great. So, I was just saying that there seems to be a mismatch between what employers want and what candidates are seemingly, I say seemingly very carefully, bring to the table. And if I'm being honest with you, I will say that this actually is a foundation from our educational system here in Africa. Let me say specifically Nigeria, where I live, because I can't speak to some of the other countries. And so it's something, I think this is the right platform for us to discuss this. I've worked in recruitment. Even though I work in marketing, I interview people, you know, I open up job vacancies and also through my role at Empower You. So I'm very passionate about this particular topic and, you know, excited to shed more light on, you know, my personal experience on both sides of the fence as a recruiter and even as a candidate.
Okay. So, how long have you been in the recruitment industry? I mean, how did you even get into it? Because I mean, you are GSK doing amazing things. I mean, what drove you into getting into the HR industry and setting up Empower You Consulting? What's your experience generally so far?
Okay, thanks for that question. So, in 2007, I got my first job, my first serious job, which was in a recruitment company. So I was in the recruitment industry. I wasn't a recruiter, but I was a database administrator, which is quite entry level. So basically what that meant, my role there was every day we would receive CVs because we put out vacancies as recruitment companies do. So maybe we would put out 5 vacancies as an example on job boards. And so we would receive thousands of CVs every day. And my role was basically to take those CVs sent to me via email. So the recruiters would look through thousands of CVs and shortlist the good ones, you know, mediocre ones, great ones, etc., and send to me via email to upload on the database. So I did that every single day. I uploaded about 600 CVs. So imagine looking at CVs all day, every day. And it was at that point that I learned that, there is a critical difference between CVs that get the call for an interview and those that don't. So that's what opened my eye. It was at that point I learned how to even construct my own CV through looking at third-party CVs and seeing the ones that were good and the ones that were bad. And so that experience shaped me into being able to deliver myself as a good candidate to employers. It was after working at that company that I then decided that, okay, I would like to focus on a career in brand management, which is marketing, which is what I currently do. So I left the recruitment agency and I did my master's, etc. Then I moved back to Lagos in 2012. So I've been back in Lagos for about, in fact, it's going to be 8 years in 2 days. So 1st of November 2012, I moved to Lagos. And there I started my career in brand management. All right. Now, interestingly, when I moved back to Lagos, another experience shaped me. Was I moved back to Lagos 1st of November. I had no plan in terms of getting a job. I didn't have any connections. I didn't have anything. I just had a dream. And by 6th of December, which was just 5 weeks later, I had started up a job. And people knew that I just moved back. So a lot of people were wondering, how did you get this job? What did you do? And I just said, you know, I worked on my CV and I applied. I didn't really know anyone. And it was at that point that a lot of people that I met at church, different communities will reach out to me to say, please, I need a job. How can you help me? And that's how I started helping people with CVs, interviews, and I started realizing what the gap was. And so from that point, I sort of founded Empower You Career Consulting, informally helping people, coaching people. I worked on a few projects with the Lagos state government, and so that's how the whole idea was birthed. So while my 9 to 5 is in brand management, outside of that, every other hour, every minute of the day, what I'm thinking about is how do we prepare the African youth for the jobs that they really want? So that's how the journey started, and that's how I got here.
That's really quite inspiring. And what I see there is that you were able to identify. I mean, another person would have been working in that same position without really thinking about the way or taking out the point you took out from there, which now led to betting your own organization. So now, from what you've learned, segregating or classifying CVs according to high class and mediocre ones, as you said, what would you say are those things that makes it stand out? What makes a CV high class or first class or top class? And what I mean, the classification, can you just say the few things that you think that makes any CV stand out from the pack? I'm not sure. Did you hear me?
Okay. Great question. Your screen is frozen.
On my own? Oh, no.
I noticed that in Nigeria, our educational system has not really, let's be honest, they haven't really equipped us with what we need post-graduation, right? And let me give you a typical example. I went to school in Nigeria. I did nursery, primary school, secondary school in Nigeria. And then after that, I went to England for my A-levels, for my undergrad, my master's, etc. I didn't go to university in Nigeria, but I have friends that went to school here in Nigeria for university. And do you know the difference? When I went to uni, I went to Loughborough University. There is a career center. It is a whole building with staff that they're not teachers. Staff are employed there. They get full salary every single month. And what do? They help students and even graduates prepare for the job force. So if you're a student and you have like an opportunity for a summer internship, you go to the career center and they have specialists. They have specialists for engineering students, maths, media and marketing. So they have different specialists. This is a university that hires people for a career center right on campus. I used the services then. I was looking for a job in my final year and I went to the career center. And the lady sat down with me and ran me through what a good CV means. That's one of the things that helped me where I am today. But when you check Nigerian universities, we don't seem to have these facilities, which is very, very unfair. So they teach you what you need to pass university, but post-university, people need to get jobs, they need to create jobs, they don't teach this. And that's the difference between schooling here and school. Through the experience there at the career center, through my job in recruitment and day to day, I've been able to figure out a couple of things that most candidates may not know. I think the first one is a good CV matches the job vacancy. That's the best thing I can tell you. Right? What I find with Nigeria is when you have a job vacancy, candidates just look at it, they're excited, and they fire their CV away. They don't look at the job description to understand what does this recruiter want? What does this employer want? The employer has said, in fact, in Nigeria, we call it expo. The employer has clearly given you all the expo that you need because they've done a job description and clearly articulated everything they want. They've told you they want digital marketing skills. You have digital marketing skills, but you did not include it on your CV. And as a result, the employer has mentioned that they want somebody that is good with numbers, data analytics. Again, you haven't included that on your CV. So the first thing is that a good CV must match the job vacancy. And it's such an easy thing to do. It takes time. It can take you an hour, but wouldn't you rather spend an hour working on your CV to make sure your CV matches the job vacancy, which will help to better your chances of getting the job, than to just send it straight away, knowing that you don't match the vacancy? That's the first thing. Number two, good CV, short, straight to the point, 2 pages or less, nothing too verbose. Because another thing that candidates fail to understand is that employers don't spend a lot of time looking at your CV. I'll give you an example. In 2012, I was recruiting for a role. I was working in the event industry. Actually, 2013, January, I remember very well. I was working in the event industry and I needed to hire 10 assistants. And my boss sent me CVs. He forwarded the CVs to me, 400. I needed 10 candidates by the next morning. 2 hours. But how long you worked? And immediately tells the recruiter in the right format, and you've used bold. That's why there's Microsoft Word. That's why we're not using typewriters to do our CVs. Microsoft Word allows you to underline certain things, use bold, talk about. So the key things you want them to take away, those are the things you put in bold. So when they look at your CV, scan through your CV, within 6 seconds, they've gotten a good idea of everything that you have to offer and why they should pick you. All right. And then the last thing that I'll say is a good CV actually eliminates grounds for discrimination. I see a lot of CVs in Nigeria. I've never seen this anywhere else in the world. In Nigeria, where there's a section called biodata. So we'll put a marital status, state of origin, your local government, your blood group, and you put about 7 bits of irrelevant. They even put religion. You don't need to do that. When you do that, you create grounds for discrimination. Somebody can look at that and say, we don't want somebody that's married, because married people tend to go home early. They have too many commitments. Oh, this girl she's female, she's put her age, she's married, she's probably, childbearing age. We don't want somebody that's going to go on maternity leave. This local government, I don't like people from this local government. They're very lazy. You don't do that. Your local government, your marital status has nothing to do with your ability to deliver on the job. So please, let's get rid of all of those things. There's a lot more about good CVs, but those are the top 3 that I'll share with you at this moment.
Oh my goodness. This is really interesting because this thing you just said now, the biodata area, I see it in most CVs. People think that's the format, that's what should be there. But it's interesting to find out right now that these actually could be you setting yourself up for disqualification. No matter what the fantastic qualification and skills you may have in your CV, this alone may just be setting you up for disqualification. So everyone, I hope you can see that. So someone just asked me, thank you for that. As a fresh graduate, how can I explore the hidden jobs in an organization? That's from Charles. As a fresh graduate, how can I explore hidden jobs in an organization?
So I love that question from Charles. And Charles, it shows that you're very mature to understand how recruitment works. Recruitment is twofold. There's public recruitment, where you can see the job vacancies on job sites. You can see them on LinkedIn, everybody knows. And there's some underground recruitment where vacancies may not be made public. Times they're not being wicked. A lot of these job boards require the employer to pay. So I've worked at a small company before where the MD did not want to post, because he's like, I'm going to spend so much money. I'm just going to get a ton of CVs and I have to go through the work of going through them. Can you just refer your friends? I will get a candidate. So a lot of the time, there's the hidden job market, right? And how do you tap into the hidden job market? As a graduate, as a professional, you need to open up yourself to network. Let me tell you the truth. I always talk about the power of LinkedIn, but let me explain 2 things. Number 1, you must have physical networks. You have friends. You need to touch base with your friends. We say, iron sharpeneth iron, right? So if you're on the journey to looking for a new job, where are your friends that are also, on that same journey? But where are your friends that have already gotten jobs? You need to continue to stay in touch with them. Because you know that some jobs, They don't want to advertise, they want referrals. So that's where your network comes into play. I always advise people to have 3 types of people in your life, compulsory. You must have mentors, people that you look up to, right? And those are the people that can share, hey, my company is recruiting. You must have peers, people that are similar to you. So your friends that also have jobs, that are looking, you guys are on the same journey. And then you must have proteges, right? But let's talk about peers and mentors at this point in time. Open up your network so that you can meet people. So people can say, there's one job in my office, so you can apply. That's the first thing. The second thing is, I got my first job I work at a multinational, GlaxoSmithKline. Before this, I used to work for Diageo, which is Guinness, Nigeria, one of the biggest multinationals globally, but also in Nigeria. And guess what? I did not apply to Guinness, Nigeria. I didn't see any vacancy. Guinness Nigeria wrote me a message on LinkedIn in 2014, letting me know they saw my profile and they were interested in me, and now asked me, are you interested in considering us? My dream company, asking me if I'm interested in working for them. What does that tell you? LinkedIn is very powerful. Every day, since 2014 or 13, when I became serious with LinkedIn, I've received over 100 job opportunities, wonderful job opportunities. Companies like Samsung reached out to me on LinkedIn. Companies like PZ Cousins reached out to me on LinkedIn. Jumia, all of these companies are looking for people like you and I. But what do you do to attract them? You need to have a good profile. Remember, we spoke about the physical network. Now let's talk about the virtual network, the electronic network. LinkedIn is your friend. Spend some time, invest in a LinkedIn profile that is powerful. And you will see that you will tap into the hidden job market. There's a lot of stuff to talk about LinkedIn. If you gave us 3 hours, we probably would not be able to finish talking about LinkedIn. But I'll just leave it at that, is that you need to invest in a winning LinkedIn profile, but also get out more. I know this is the Gain Youth Summit, but let's be honest. When young people, I want you something that's very relatable to all of us. I know as most young people, at least 50% of us here would like to get married, right? When young people want to get married, what do? They don't sit at home. They go out. They meet friends. They network. Same thing with a job. I didn't meet my husband sitting at home. I met my husband at a colleague's party, actually. Same thing with jobs. My current job that I work at, I met the hiring manager at a baby shower. So expand your network. All right. Thank you.
Interesting. Oh my. So expanding your network, because I've seen a lot of people go out, they attend events, but they just sit on the same spot from the beginning to the end. They don't even say hello to the next person sitting next to them. Sometimes I think it's about confidence, right? But now that is one thing you need to take out from here. Start developing your network. You do not necessarily need anybody to introduce you to anybody, right? Introduce yourself. You're the best person that can introduce yourself. So networking virtually, physically, don't just hang out with the boys or the girls, but develop the 3 classes of network like she had mentioned. Thank you for that, ma'am. And then the next one now, someone is asking about skills, about the fact that, yes, you may have all the skills, but just scanning through, I can imagine if someone had submitted a CV and you had that 2 hours to screen through, and then they said someone that had 5 years experience. I think the people that you will screen out first are those that have less than 5 years experience, right? So how do young graduates cross that line? Or even develop the experience? You're just out of school. All the jobs you're seeing require minimum of 3 years of experience. How should how would you advise a young person to combat that challenge?
Excellent question. Thank you. Thank you so much. So I will answer this question in 2 ways. The first one is, I've seen a few young people that have reached out to me to say, oh, I saw this job, it's very exciting, and they asked for 6 years experience. Can I apply? And I've never worked before. The truth is, there is what you call honest self-assessment. There are some jobs that are not obtainable to everyone. Right now, I'm a marketing manager. If I saw a role for GM for GSK, am I qualified? No, not yet. right? So that's the answer, not yet. But are there jobs that you meet the requirements for? Yes. And let me explain. There are entry-level roles that graduates can apply for. They might ask for a year's experience, 2 years, 3 years. But I always advise people, and this is something that I learned while at university at that career center that I spoke to you about. The lady asked me, she said, what work experience do you have? And I said, I don't really have any. She said, really? Okay, tell me, what you do in your spare time? And I told her that I used to organize events. And she said, oh, do those events, are those free events? I said, some of them are free, some of them we collect money. She said, and what does it take to organize those events? I said, oh, I go around, I have to look for a venue. When I find the venue, then I pick a date that is suitable, I publicize it. She said, do you know that you're doing the job of an events manager? I'm like, okay. She said, what else? Talk to me about this. I was the social secretary of the Afro-Caribbean Society. She said, what does that entail? I told her, I said, we put together 22 events every year, and we have to, develop flyers, publicize them on Facebook. I have to go to every event, make sure everyone is comfortable, they're happy. She said, do you know that is work experience? So as a fresh graduate, don't underestimate a lot of the things that you've done. You might have done summer internships. You might have worked at your mom's store, your dad's business. You might have been the social secretary of a society. All of those things are actually work experience, even what you did during NYSC, right? So what the career center manager told me was, all of those little experiences, I should add them up. When I added them up, they actually summed up to more than 2 years. And she told me, do you know you have 2 years work experience? I'm like, okay, wow. So then I started positioning myself as a graduate with 2 years work experience, and I was getting jobs. So it's the same thing. Don't underestimate all of those things that you've done. Even working in, the mosque or in the church, because those are valuable work experiences. Work experience is about garnering skills, delivering value. When you were volunteering in church, were you delivering value? Where what did you have to do? All of those things are relevant. Okay, so that's the first thing that I want to say. The second thing, in case we have any undergraduates here, I know we know what strategy is, right? Strategy is a term from military. But let me explain this to you. If you are an undergraduate, you need to be you'll be looking at, hey, I'm going to graduate in the next year or two. How do I prepare myself for post-graduation? Right now, you need to start doing internships. You need to get your feet wet and deep in key activities. As an undergrad, I did every summer, every holiday. I worked at a hospital. I worked at the cancer research shop. I did everything because I needed that experience, So that is the advice that I give people. Get involved. Get involved. There's a lot that you can learn and that can help you sharpen your skills. All right. So that's my advice. And even during the NYSC year, a lot of people think NYSC year is for faffing. During my NYSC year, I developed a lot of proposals for the company I was working at. I gave them ideas. I said, these ideas, I'm going to present them. As an NYSC student, or I'm not sure how to refer to NYSC, but as an NYSC person, I sat down in front of somebody like Senator Ben Bruce, delivering a presentation to him about what we could do for Silverbird. And we got the deal. We ran that project for him for 12 weeks. So that's some of the things that you can do, right? That was in my workplace. And even in my CD group, there are projects that they give you. Not every group does a project. I was the vice president of my CD group. Intentionally, I put myself forward. In fact, I would have been the president, right? But let's not talk about sexism. That's another story. But I was the vice president, right? And I said, let's come together and let's change. There was a community school, Oregon High School, near our local government. And I said, let's go and look at that school. That school does not look good. What do they need? We went in the library. We saw they didn't have fans. Their chairs and desks were rickety. And I said, we're going to change this library. Let's give them new desks. That's what we did as a team. Is that not teamwork? Identifying, working as a team. We now had to identify vendors that would make the furniture. We have to identify sponsors. Anybody that tells me that's not work experience is joking. So use those opportunities, NYSC, all those your voluntary opportunities to make magic happen. And that is your work experience that you put on your CV that will help you get a job. Remember, when a recruiter is looking for an employee They want somebody that has the right experience and skills to deliver on the role. How they got the experience and skills, whether they were paying them, if it was free internship, it is really, really negligible. It doesn't matter. What they want is that you have the right experience and you have the right skills. And I'm telling you today, you can get those by volunteering. You can get those during NYC. You can get those by doing in, and then you sum up the time together, and there goes your experience.
Interesting. This is really rich. This is rich. So much information there. And I can see from the comment section, there's fire going on in there. There's a lot of questions, even though we have very short time left. Okay, so now quickly, someone is asking that is a pharmaceutical student. So what necessary skills, if you know any, I mean, what necessary skills will you suggest for him to get employment? Just quickly. Yeah. And then someone is asking again, Rachel.
I'm going to answer this question.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so I wanted to just join them because Rachel is asking.
No, please go ahead with the second question.
Degrees, science and business, should she include both of them in the same CV or only what is related to a particular position?
Okay, excellent. So for the first person, pharmaceutical student, it depends on the role that you're applying for. If you're applying for a role, look at what are them. So it depends. You're a pharmacy student, you might be going for a job in brand management, you might go for a job in pharmacy. So it really depends on what you are applying for. I study psychology, I'm not working in psychology. So it depends on what the goal is. For the second question, you know, the person that has 2 different degrees. So you put all your degrees there, but what I'll say is that you don't focus on experience that is irrelevant. So call out what you will be focusing on is the one that is relevant. You put your degrees there, you don't take away anything, but don't spend too much time talking about the one that is not related to the job that you want.
Okay. The other person, Mansa, is asking if he has a very long job experience, must he limit it to 2 pages or should he go ahead and put all of them?
2 pages, please. I have more than 10 years experience and I have a 2-page CV. There are some things in your job experience that's no longer relevant. You know, there's a part in my CV that I just call previous employment and I just list what I did. I don't put anything else there. The most relevant, my 3 most recent roles are the ones that are most relevant. So those are the ones that I put, and I put all the beef there that, okay, I did this, I did that. For the other ones, I just put them as a list. 2 pages and nothing more.
Okay, so postgraduate without job experience, that has been answered. State of origin, Friday, that has been answered. An employee asking for 5 years of experience when you haven't got any opportunity to even volunteer, especially in my country, so what should be done? If you don't have any opportunity to volunteer, I mean, I think the opportunities are there. Just look, right? Just look, find them. Is it possible for you to start job before you graduate? If yes.
Yes, right now at Empower You, we have a team. My team at Empower You is about 8 people, and 2 of them are final year students. The universities in Nigeria, universities have been on strike, and they're working full-time jobs with me. They're not so much, you know, so these are things that you won't see.
Okay.
So you can take advantage of such opportunities.
Good. Thank you. So I'm just trying to rush because too many questions are coming and our time is quite limited. Someone is saying some job experiences. Yeah, they put out job application, call for applicant, but they already have someone in mind to favor. And so they end up interviewing you and saying they will get back to you. Do you think this is correct? So what will be your advice to them, to the applicant?
So, okay, so 2 things. Number 1, is that your mindset? The fact that you go for a job interview and that they pick somebody else, it doesn't mean that they had a candidate already. Yeah, that's not, I won't say that's correct. That's the mindset that a lot of Nigerians have, that you can't get the job if you don't know anybody. No, that's not correct. So I think when you have that kind of mindset, that's what, you know, begins to cripple you. At the end of the day, I've recruited for my personal company. I've also recruited for the company that I work for, GSK, and I always want the best candidates. I've sent vacancies to people I know, and I don't have to hire them. I want the best person for the job, and that's it.
Good.
So I don't think you should have that in mind.
Yeah, exactly. Someone is saying that in their country, political connection play a great role in employment system. How you advise them to mitigate this number to get jobs? Do you have any statement for that?
Okay, so I think I understand what you're saying, and there is a role that also plays out in some industries in Nigeria. What I'll say is, you need to discover what's your leg in. You might not be able to get into a big company straight away. What I realize is that the higher you go up with your experience, the more dynamic it is to get into companies. So you might not be able to start up at a big company straight away because of these bottlenecks. But can you start at a small company where you can garner experience and skills that you can now then use to showcase yourself to these other companies? Definitely, I understand the political affiliation and connections needed, but not 100% of those candidates will be recruited via that method. There will be at least maybe a 30% that are recruited organically. So the goal for you would be start at a small company that is easy to get into, garner experience, gain the right experience, and then try to then pivot into some of those larger organizations. I think
Good. Thank you very much. So now, a lot of questions. I'm just trying to see. One has asked for your handle. I'm sure you can drop that for everyone there. Then another one, someone is asking if you're as an undergraduate in economics, what kind of activities can you volunteer in to boost your experience? So I think that answers for anybody that is trying to figure out. Someone asked again about communications. Is studying mass communication. How can she put herself forward, and what skill set does she need?
All right, absolutely. So I think the first thing is, as an undergraduate, discover what it is you want to do post-graduation. So for example, if it's communications like the lady, some of the things that they want you to understand because of the world that we're in is digital marketing. So can you volunteer? Can you find some small businesses that do digital marketing that you can write to them and send them your CV and how you're trying to target communications and you would like to help them with their social media strategy. You can even send 2 ideas, initially just to get their attention. These are some of the things that you can do. If it's another field that you want to go into, then you need to look at the skills that are required in that field and then pick voluntary roles that are related to that. But some easy fixes are volunteering to do social media for some businesses, volunteering to help businesses with their data analytics, helping businesses with their customer service, even in church, helping with organizing events. I worked at my church for about 6 months in London. I was an events volunteer and I actually organized a 3,000 person picnic. I organized conferences, amazing things, and this was a voluntary role.
Interesting. So too many questions there. So we're rounding up just in 5 minutes. And so I'd like to ask you, okay, I think you pretty much have answered this. The tips you can give to anybody that's out there feeling that that they are being discouraged because they've submitted a number of CVs and nobody seems to be calling them and all of that. So what can you tell such person who think that they're tired of applying?
All right. So I'm going to be very honest with you, unpopular opinion, but I've met a lot of people that make this statement. And what I challenge them, they say, my CV is good, I've sent it, nobody's responding. And I challenge them to send me that CV. And then I say, your CV is actually not great, right? So what I find that a lot of the time, we're not very, very honest with ourselves. Look at your CV. Did your CV hit the mark? Did it really hit? Go back to the job description. Did your CV respond to everything that has been there? I don't think so, right? I've sent good CVs and I've sent bad CVs in my lifetime. And I can tell you that of the CVs that I've sent, at least my good CVs, 80 to 90% of them got a call back for an interview. So, and I've seen this with candidates as well. I work with candidates all the time. I teach them how to revamp their CVs. They revamp their CVs and they say, oh, I'm so sorry, you're right. I'm starting to get traction. Same thing with LinkedIn. So I think it's time. Another tip that I'll say is that when you're sending your CV, it's always a good idea to send it with a cover letter. A cover letter can really grab the attention of the recruiter or employer and help them to see the value that you're going to add to the organization. It's something that will help you set yourself apart.
Good. Very insightful. So as it's actually been a very insightful session. You can agree by the number of the engagements in the chat section. So thank you really very much. I'm really delighted to actually get hold of you to be here to answer this question, because I'm sure a lot of people have benefited and more people are going to benefit from this. So now, before you go, please, what do you think about the importance of this kind of platform by Grand Africa Initiative, this kind of engagement to help the youth for the future?
I'd like to say that everyone on this call, is really blessed and fortunate. In my time, I didn't have this opportunity. Going by some of the presentations I saw on the agenda, some of the ones that I listened to, I think it's super helpful, important, insightful. So I'm really proud to be here, and I'm also very grateful to the Grand Africa Initiative for even organizing this. This is an amazing platform, very inspiring, very impactful. And my prayer is that everybody that attends this platform, because what I see a lot of the time is that people get inspired. Remember, inspiration 1%, right? But perspiration is the 99%. And every time you consume knowledge, as every day passes by, the knowledge that you retained begins to reduce. So my challenge to all the attendees and all the participants is that you start to action and execute straight away. So thank you so much, Madam Chinwe, and to all the organizers. This has been absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Now that we've come to the end of this session, everyone remember, she said, your network is key. The classes of your network, you need to actually tell yourself the truth and take time to review your CV. Don't prepare one generic CV and just send everywhere. That's how they will skip your CV still. And then how to acquire your job experience. I'm sure she has answered all of those things. Stay connected with her on her platform. She has dropped her handle. Thank you so much, Mamfi. Thank you for this time with us.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Our programs seek to achieve sustainable development by igniting the positive energy of the greater segment of Africa's population, the young men and women. Grand Africa Initiative, GAIN, promoting youth empowerment for development. Join us for a greater impact together.